Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm so glad you could all made it to this webinar. I see the chat is already live and you've discovered Sonia, my brilliant assistant. So if you have, any questions, she's going to help out, collect some questions, and help me facilitate this event. So as you know, this is pretty last minute. I just came up with this idea yesterday evening before going bed. So yeah, I thought let's do this review because a few weeks ago I was collecting portfolios on Instagram. So you guys sent me your portfolios and I promised to review. Maybe it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and now we finally made it. We are here, and yeah, let's just jump in. This is what I thought, because we are 32. That's great. So I thought that I would prioritize everybody who is right here with us live, because I have my list of portfolios that was sent to me. But I want to make sure that obviously you guys are my priority because you are here live. So this is what we are going to do. I want you guys now to use the chat and send your portfolio in here, obviously, in case if you want the review. Yeah, I'm sorry if you already did that and if you sent me that, but I just want to make sure that I will review your portfolio while you are here. So if we have too much time, then we'll just hop on the list. Okay, this is coming in. This is coming in. Sonia will collect it for me. So yes. So basically, while we are waiting for that, so the ground rules, I'm going to review the portfolios that you guys sent me on the chat. Then if we have more time and we're still interested, then I will have, I'll just pull up my list of other portfolios we can review. Okay. So how am I going? How the review is going to look like? I'm going to give you first impressions. That means that I won't be able to fully dig in and understand all the case studies and everything that goes into the portfolio. But it's going to be a great first impression test. I will kind of try to put my hiring manager hat on, my client hat on, and my recruiter hat on, which I never had, but obviously I do know a lot about it. So I'm going to change those hats so it's relevant. By the way, let's just fire up a quick poll about: are you a freelancer versus employee, or want to get employed? I'm a freelancer. Just firing a poll for us to get hired full-time, and I'm working full-time. Sure now. Okay, it just gives me a better idea, because obviously if there's, so please just fill out the poll, because if nobody here is interested in hearing about the freelance side, then I'm not going to address that. Okay, while the poll is running, like I said, it's going to be some first impressions, me changing the hats, and I thought that I'll review one portfolio and then answer a set of questions. So Sonia is collecting me the questions for me. So I'm going to be reviewing the portfolio, one, then questions, and then portfolio, and then questions. Maybe that way it's going to be more feasible and your question will get answered sooner. All right. And about what I'm going to be looking at in your portfolio. So the first thing is your pitch and positioning. So who you are, what you do, who you are helping with your service, because you need to be very clear on that. And then we hop over to the projects. I'm be looking at the number of projects you included, the quality of the projects, because we're going to look at the quality of the projects and the quality of the presentation as well, because both are very important points. So then dig into the process, how well you laid out the process, and walk me through the case study. And then the presentation of the designs, like how do you, the spotlight designs, the images, mock-ups, GIFs, whatever that is that you were using in your portfolio. And then also look at the overall presentation of the portfolio website or PDF, okay? So like from the UX UI perspective, because in many cases, recruiters complain that people send in portfolios that are hard to access, or there's some, funky navigation, etc. We definitely don't want to do that. So just a quick evaluation of the, general UX UI principles, mobile friendliness, because yes, in 2021, many people will look at your portfolio on their phone. So, a desktop-only portfolio is not going to cut it. And of course, the call to actions. Are you clear on what you want the viewer to do? In this case, if I'll be looking at your portfolio, it needs to be clear, like, hey, what do you want? You want to get, me to contact you for an opportunity for a freelance project, or get you hired, or whatever it is you're looking for. Okay, so are we ready? Okay. So we are looking good. And I have the first batch of portfolios, and I'm going to hesitate no longer, but share my screen. Ha 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 ha, infinite. So just do a quick check. I don't know if I never tried this before. So now can you see the spreadsheet? I will switch to the chat real quick. I just want to make sure that you guys can see if I shift the window. Please type in yes if you saw the spreadsheet. Yes, yeah, yes. Okay. Right, so let's start with the first one. Karen, this is from Karen Alarcon. And okay, so what are we looking at? Okay, I know your name. That's cool. I'm a user experience and visual designer from Queens, New York. Scroll on to see my UX case studies. Check out my resume. Email me. Blah blah blah. Not sure what to recommend. Okay, so just up on top of my head, it's not bad. I can see who you are. Although it's a very generic way of pitching yourself. So I would definitely include something on like what's in it for me, like who you are working for, who do you want to attract as clients, like what's your specialty, like who you are helping with your services. It's not really about me. It's really about that part is about you. Like I do this, I do that, and I would be just interested, like, for instance, are you like freelancing or do you want more projects? What's your specialty? Are we a good match? So far, I only know that you're a UX designer, user experience and visual designer. Okay. And you're in NYC. That's cool. So share in Spotify app feature. Okay, so these are the projects. Share in Spotify app feature. I mean, okay, obviously I'm intrigued. Like, is it a redesign or it's actually a new feature? So therefore, I'm going to hop over to your resume just to see if you're actually working for Spotify or you're somehow user experience fellow, freelance designer. So you are actually freelancing. Additional experience. Okay, I'm just going to search for Spotify. Okay, so 0 hits. All right, so task with adding a feature that will improve the user experience in existing app in the website. Blah blah blah. Well, let's read a case study. Okay, the challenge in a team of 4, add a feature to the current website. The client, Spotify, is a Swedish-based audio streaming. This case study was okay. So here it is. This case study was for school purposes only. There's no way to affiliate it. Okay, so yeah, I'm not interested in that case because I'm not Spotify. I'm in like a small medium business. In this case, when you do something like this, if it's a well-known brand, then I would say definitely be upfront if it's a concept work. I think you could do better concept work as well. and not something that's so well known, because a lot of people you do this. A lot of people, dig into the big brand names and redesigning them. And in that case, it's just, you could go with a better fake project that's more specific towards an industry, and avoid this kind of situation where, it's not clear if you were working for Spotify or not. Now here project overview in a team of 10. Okay, at least, okay, this is good. So if I go into the case study, it's good that it lays out that well. Project, my role, project manager, visual designer, prototyper, support, research, and usability testing. Okay, this is great. You were pointing out your role. Don't feel like reading. Okay, I'm going to launch the prototype soon. Research. Okay, I like this. So 96% of subscribers to one musical streaming, blah, 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 blah. Primary use, where you use, competitive analysis. Yeah, okay, some personas, user flows, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is what you need to know. Clients and recruiters and anybody, they're not going to spend a whole lot of time, digging into all that. So this is definitely interesting. Although what I definitely say here, that I needed to prototype version. So GIFs, okay, it's not bad. I'm kind of missing. Yeah. So what I'm curious, because I want to check that. So I need to process. That's cool. I can see, and you did a good job at laying out the process. But what I'm interested in is kind of the presentation of the final thing. Is it a video? Okay, this is a prototype. Okay, I guess I could watch the whole thing. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. There's a lot of great content here, but what I'm going to say is that the overall presentation of how it's laid out could be improved a lot. I mean, just if you look at this part, the whole layout, how it's presented, it's really like fractured, and it doesn't really focus my attention. And so there's a lot of, this visual things here and there, but it would be great if it would be more like a walkthrough, like something that one column layout, always focusing on something, like one thing at a time. Also, I would definitely hide a lot of information in here. So, I mean, just look at this. It's like tons of white space. It doesn't really look really good. And, I don't know, from your pitch, you're a UX UI designer. Now, this is not a very nice UI experience, and or UI layout, and not a very good UX experience. So, doing a better job at presenting this content would be definitely important. I mean, it's just, for instance, this is way too large. Maybe if I resize the window, or let's just look at a quick mobile version. Okay, the mobile version actually, I think it actually looks better than the desktop, because at least it's just like one column. See, actually, if you look at the mobile, it's clearer because you don't have. So I can see that this is, a GIF. This is task 1. Okay, so here's the deal. I see that you're very into research, which is cool. And depending on whether you want freelance client or you want to get hired, you need to play around with the amount of information that you include. Because if you want to get hired, okay, this is very relevant. For clients, they won't understand it. So it's very, very, very technical, how it's laid out. It's, it's too much jargon, and let's focus on the actual outcome. So I can see like confidence scores and, participant XYZ, completed text XYZ. Now I don't have the time to read all that, but this is kind of my first experience with the portfolio, that there's a lot of gems in there, but we definitely need to do a better job at presenting it visually speaking, because the content is there. This is great, but if you want to sell yourself also as a UI designer, I mean, the whole layout and the whole visual design of the website could be improved. So that's what I would say. Brulab project. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, and because I like the colors, I like that. Okay, you were doing lots of open cart sorting in Mural. This is great. Main takeaway. Yeah, so this amount of information, by the way, works better if you want to get hired. If you want to do freelance, clients don't need this amount of information, but they really need the outcomes. And this is what you need to understand. So if you want freelance clients, they understand the designs. And if you write out like what's happening in the designs and how to improve it. Okay, so to wrap this up, I would definitely give it another go, redesigning the actual site and maybe hiding some of the extra information. Like if you want more or you want details on the cart sort, click here. And it takes me to like a full-fledged case study because, there's just too much content on the site. All right. But other than that, great job. And okay, this is a dead end. All right, I'll switch here. Stop the sharing for a second. And let's see if we have questions. No questions. No questions. Let's hop over to the next one. Of course. Mention this person. All right. If there are no questions, I am going to proceed. Sharing my screen again. And we are going to look at this website. Hey there. So who we are looking at? I'm Kavya Jen. Sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce names. So, okay, it's a little bit annoying that the background is repeating constantly. Maybe you were designing it for a smaller screen size, but on a large screen size, yeah. So, and it's hard to read this top navigation. Anyway, let's focus on who you are. So, product designer in the making. Well, okay. It depends. Again, do you want to get hired? Do you want to do like freelance on the side? Because yeah, I to be honest, I wouldn't advise saying something like I'm a junior or I'm a product designer in the making. You can just say you are a product designer. They're all different levels of designers, and it will turn out like where you belong. Okay, so design to me means change. I want to spend my time trying to tell compelling stories through design. I'm looking for challenges that can help me unleash my creativity and bring out of the box unique ideas to the table. Okay, this is nice. Again, nothing about who do you want to work with, nothing about me as a client / company. So and this is an issue because okay, yes, compelling stories through design, challenges, everyone wants challenges, right? This is why we became a designer. We want to solve problems and we don't want to get bored. But out of the box ideas, okay? This is nice, but it has no information. So I don't really get to know you better, and I don't get an answer like who do you want to work for, who do you are helping with your services, and what are your services specifically? Because saying product designer, okay, that's many people understand that in many different ways. In a tech industry, there is some consensus on what a product designer is, but it's definitely better to be like very precise. Like, what do you do? Do you focus on, as a product designer, do you focus on digital products, like complex SaaS applications, or you dip into the kind of more marketing focused things like landing pages, or do you do like mobile designs? All that, it's just important to include. One, professional, my knowledge level in software. This is useless. I don't yeah, I'm not a big fan. Sorry, I don't want to offend anybody. I'm not a big fan of these things. By the way, you say my knowledge level in software, well, JavaScript and Python is not a software, it's a programming language. So instead of just laying it out for the client or company, it's better to, I don't know, to turn it into some sort of little description or showcase that through a case study. Or when you talk about your services, you can ingratiate this kind of information. But, 85% Photoshop compared to what exactly? So like what's 100%? 0%, everyone understands that you know nothing about Photoshop. 100%, do you claim that you actually know 80% of Photoshop's features? That's a bold statement. I would consider I know like 35% or maybe 50. Just this is it. This doesn't convey a lot of extra message to the viewer, but it can cause some wrong connotation. So instead, turning it into like services or about us or just mentioning them in your case studies, that's actually nicer way to look at it. Okay, now this is pretty nice. Okay, this is I don't know what it is yet, but I like the visual layout. And hey everyone, you need to understand this. Even if you're not into UI, if you don't do UI, you don't offer this, your portfolio needs to look awesome. And even with the case studies, I often say like, don't do eye candy or don't do those perspective mockups, because the client or the recruiter needs to understand what's going on in the designs. When it comes to your website, it needs to look great, because a recruiter is flipping through dozens of portfolios a day, and client, it's kind of like people have higher standards, so your presentation needs to look nice. So when we come across something like this, my journey, and it's a great metaphor with the mountains and stuff. So this is pretty nice. Okay, university, Presidium school. Okay, I don't know what it is, but I don't think this is relevant. So like, yeah, don't include too much. And also, if you're freelancing, never include anything like this. So my journey, I mean, not as in education. So if it's kind of like if it's relevant to the client, how you got there to where you are, then yes. But maybe I just tell people that, hey, I used to build up my own agency, I sold it, I do XYZ, but I don't really put that on my website because it doesn't add that much value, and the resume actually is there if something is really interested. All right, let's hop into the, there were no projects on the main page? No, here is it. Okay, rhinoceros. I love this. This is a great design. Form study, mood board. So far, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Strong, powerful, and heavy. Spot on. It looks heavy. Okay, I'm getting a little nervous. Like, what am I looking at? Okay, you're a product designer. Okay, this is a slide. Okay, I didn't come closer to what you actually do. This would be the time where I just give up. Bamboo craft and technology. I have a hunch that you might be a physical product designer. Okay. This is why it's so important to to make those introductions, because if you are, so now product designer is very confusing, because it's you can mean you designed it, physical products, and now we call product designers like UX UI designers specializing in complex software like web applications and mobile applications, who looks at the product as a whole, and they're full stack designers, and they're also called product designers. So even if you don't want to change your title, because you shouldn't if you're a product designer, but adding that extra information of what you do, is definitely crucial, because now I have completely confused. What do you do, and should I hire you for what exactly? And this is the issue. By the way, about the overall presentation, I see bits that I really like. For instance, this is nice, but right next to it, it looks like Papyrus. I think it's Papyrus. I don't know, but anyway, this for instance here, it looks pretty bad. Sorry to say that. And this is what you want. You want to maintain a level of quality in your portfolio, because if I look at the rhinoceros, it looks like, oh, this is cool. If I look at this, I don't know what this is, below, design intervention for religious waste, then it like, me no likey, which I'm going to get if I hire you, this one or this one. And try to clean up your website a little bit. No need for these background images. It's pretty old school. And it doesn't help the viewer to focus, okay? Right. I know, I need to move on. So let's look at another one. Hey, Jordan. I'm Jordan. Yep. Product designer, building experiences that support change and empower people. Currently open to full-time opportunities. Okay, now this, I don't love it so faded out. I wouldn't fade it out that much, but I like the introduction in a sense of, it's clear that, hey, you want to get hired, and that's cool, and that you are, product designer. Now this part, again, I don't want to repeat myself. Try to be more specific. Like, how do you want, who do you prefer to work with, and what kind of work, and what's your specialty? Even if you don't have something like, I'm a conversion rate optimization expert. You don't have to be that, but maybe being a bit more, less vague with your introductions it definitely helps. Okay, let's see. Internship case studies. See what is happening here. Okay, this is super annoying that it tries to force the scroll. Okay, I hate it. Okay, this is definitely not a good user experience here. Maybe it wasn't optimized for this screen size. I don't really understand the lines here. I mean, why it's divided into these tiles. Okay, so now this is two things that I don't like here: the tiles and this jumping. Anyway, internship case studies. But I like that it's upfront, like, okay, it's an internship case study if it's relevant. Connecting citizens with essential city information, helping citizens plan their vote, and a new design system. What? Connecting citizens, okay. Helping citizens plan their vote and the new design system. I'm not 100% sure what it means, but anyway, at least it focuses on the outcomes, and this is something I like. So instead of saying Vancouver project or whatever it is, it's great that he focused on the actual outcome, like, no, not the outcome, but like, what was the goal, like what the project is good for. So I'm going to go ahead. No, actually, I want the other one because that looks better. Which is mobile app for Van City members to manage and set goals that encourage credit building. Okay, this is cool. 2019 RGB Student Awards for Excellent Strategic Decisions, honorable mention. Okay, in this case, learn a little bit of marketing, folks. Don't afraid to, let go the honorable mention. It's not important. Who's going to look this up? So 2019, whatever awards, I've just maybe that's not even important. Just like RGD Student Awards, Excellence for Strategic Design, that's perfect. And you can highlight that you are basically, I would say, you are an award-winning designer, because guess what? Nobody really tracks what an award-winning designer is. So essentially, you could just go out, get yourself any sort of competition, win something, and then you can, tell the world that you're an award-winning designer, and it's not a lie. And it's if you have something specific, like, I don't know, App of the Year award or something like that, that's very cool. But even if you don't have that, you can just say, that you won the award. You don't need to be like specific, like, is it first place, second place, honorable mention, whatever. Oh my God. I want to see this in mobile version though. It works. It works. Okay. So let's see this. Vancity, companion application for Vancity members to manage their credit and set goals to encourage credit building to better support their financial well-being. Blah, 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 blah. I can see the team. Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure this is something that you need to include or you really want to include, unless your teachers are like so well known that they're a name in the industry, so to speak. Okay, this is great. I like the that you put up some visual up front. Let's see. Original project received blah blah blah. Okay, decided to redesign this past academic project. Disclaimer: following words a hypothetical solution. Okay, so you have a video here from Vancity My Credit. So it's your video. It's cool. I'm just going to.
Some people are natural, but most of us need practice. We learn to swim when to refinance.
Mortgages. Okay.
We set out to propose co-operative to serve our community.
Okay, here you go.
Half of our members interact with us almost entirely digitally. So to better serve our community, we create.
Okay, this is nice.
We explain your credit and how it works, and give you the tools you
okay,
need to improve
like
your
it.
financial well-being. We give you tips when you need them, work with you to set goals, and help keep you on track if you're working to.
Okay, so actually this is very nice. I like it. What happens if I jump to the final? Okay, this is okay. Again, this is lovely that you, if I'm interested in the final designs, you let me jump it. So I would definitely make a note of that. It's a good technique. I would definitely do that. So let's see. Then domain problem. Okay, framing insights. How might we? Okay. Now here, what I like is that it's laid out in a nice way. And even though you are showing bits from the portfolio, I'm really focused on just looking at just one thing at a time. Okay, design evolution. What do you mean? Okay, not sure about this part. Home screen. Okay. I'll just dip into very quickly. Maybe just goals, learn based on FICO notification celebration. Use of flags. Okay, this is very nice. So what I will say, key takeaways. There is key takeaways. That's cool. SAP. So what I will say is I like how it's laid out. It's clear. It has a lot of information. I would possibly yeah. Oh my God, there's even a long case study version. What do you mean longer? Okay, short case study version. I mean, this is not short, dude. This definitely could be shorter. Again, I will point out two things. The case study, good job, but I would work a little bit more on the overall like UI and damn. Yeah, because it's what I can see is that you do have a lot of experience with the basics. So if I tell you like user journey, you'll know that. If we talk about like doing research, that's good. Problem is, I need to see more of your work. So I don't see a lot of actual actual outcomes as wireframes and visual design. That's what I'm kind of lacking, that you are presenting some good case studies, which is nice, but for instance here, so I'm missing more designs needed for this portfolio. So if you have just like 3 projects, you can make a good portfolio with 3 projects, but then you need to include more designs. You need to focus more on what you did at the end, because the process is important. And a lot of companies, especially you said you are looking to get a full-time position, a lot of people would hire somebody like this. But my initial reaction is like, I didn't see enough enough design work to make a decision. Full stop. But good work on the case study. Just switching back for a sec. Okay, let's see. There are some questions coming. So we have a question from Tiernan. By putting a certain type of company person you want to work for in the for an info, would that be limiting if you're looking at a variety of companies? It depends. So if it's a preference, then definitely, but you don't necessarily need to name industries unless you know them. And I wouldn't say I also name industries. It's rather your specialty or added value. For instance, lately I was really focused on more complex SaaS products, and my biggest contribution to my clients is that I can bring in a strategy and a process that they can follow, and I work really well with engineering and devs. So even if they cannot have a full research included and do everything by the book, so to speak, like what can you do in that case? And I really place a lot of focus on let's just start, let's be lean, and let's focus on delivering really exceptional interface solutions, because I truly believe that you can, in some cases, let me back up. In some cases, a company is better off with a designer who has like very established design background and can design lots of features and solutions, go to the market and test it. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't do research, but in many cases, it's from a business perspective, it's better if you can ship the product earlier. And in many cases, you need that expert insight on what's the best course of action for a company. And this is what I bring in. That I don't think 2 of my projects look alike, because I use different processes, I use different strategies, because I align them what's best for the companies. And obviously, I'll try to just dip into this a little bit when I'm presenting myself and I'm targeting a few of the companies. So what I want is when people hear from me, that they understand that I'm an expert level. I'm only interested in like complex, bigger products, and I'm bringing the expertise, and it's mainly like SaaS products and web applications and some mobile applications. Instead of saying I love solving problems, because I do, but who doesn't? So we have a question from Angie. So if I want to try both freelance and be hired, I have to make 2 different portfolios, right? Yes, I would say that the biggest difference between the freelancing and the getting hired is when you want to get hired, people are more interested in the details of your process, while if you're freelancing, people are more interested on what can you deliver what are your services, what problems you are solving, and yeah, and they are interested in your process too, but they won't read a case study like what we've seen so far. So I think one way to think about it, which works for both, is if you build up a portfolio that speaks to both freelance clients and the getting hired type of clients, but you let them basically, you give them like a short case study, very punchy, visually very attractive, and then you let those folks, the recruiters, the hiring managers, to go into more details. So for instance, I would just summarize the research part or the strategy part in like this amount. And if they're interested, maybe there's a button with a modal or a separate page that goes into all the details if they want that information. But I know that my clients, even later on, they will really appreciate like the user-centered business canvas, the personas, all the research and all the documents that I'm going to be creating for them. They're not going to be interested in that at first. They're interested in, can I solve them problems? And if they like my design, and if they can trust that I have enough experience. And I do that by showcasing the end result and talking about how I solved the problems and what we achieved by solving the problems. And then another question from Andrea: what would be a better way to display comparative knowledge, familiarity with different tools in portfolio and resume? I don't think tools matter that much, to be honest. I don't think in UX UI. So let's be fair. I can only speak for UX UI. Obviously, if you are into like video editing or 3D work, which might require, it might be a hard skill to understand CAD or whatever specialized software. And this is true for dev as well. Like, if I want a React developer and that's a non-negotiable, then I won't be hiring somebody without React knowledge. But just strictly speaking about UX UI, tools don't matter that much. I don't think I've never seen anybody not getting hired because, say, they work in Sketch and they don't know Figma or they don't know Photoshop or XYZ. So if you can do the job, I wouldn't highlight the tools that much. If you need to highlight the tools, and in that case, I would say this: if you're not too afraid of doing this, this is very effective. Like, talk about it. So if you know basics in a tool, just say you know the tool, because when you don't need to say you are an expert, and it will turn out if you're an expert or not. But this is what I don't see the point in putting there, like, hey, I'm a beginner in Photoshop or 10% in Photoshop. Instead, like, say, okay, blah, 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 blah. I can do Photoshop. This is my skills. I can do that. Because if it's needed and you're given a task to do something in Photoshop, will you able to do that? You fire up Google, you fire up YouTube, you fire up all the tutorials in the world. I'm sure you will be able to do that. And that's why you shouldn't put up like, I don't know, I'm a beginner in Photoshop, unless that's a deal breaker. So don't say you know Python if you don't know Python and it's needed for the job. Okay, question from Maria: is it normal if links of projects on the site link to Behance? Let's open this up quickly. It's great if you have, it's a must to have a portfolio website. And that shouldn't be Behance, because you don't want people to go to Behance. You want the people to stay on your website. So what you need to think about is, there's your website and there's all kinds of traffic sources, social media, and actually Behance is a social media just for designers. So there's your website and there's Behance, Dribbble, Instagram, Facebook, blah, 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 blah. And you want them to point to your website where they can find the information presented the way you want to present it. and you can keep them on your website. You can tell them what to do, the call to action, like, what should I do? Should I contact you with a project and all that? You have full control on your website. Why give up the control and tell them to go to Dribbble? Most likely, it's about, so you don't want to direct people to Behance. You want to put stuff on Behance so that whoever discovers you on Behance, they will come back to your website. That's an extra traffic source. So not a good idea. Question from Pet Tamon. You said that a few projects are not good enough to showcase your design scale. Then is it a good idea to include your UI challenge works to your portfolio? If you mean the UID bootcamp, yes and no. The UID bootcamp was designed specifically to improve your skills. The reason why I'm saying that is you need to expand on the task of the bootcamp because there are only just like one screen. If you take it and turn it into a full-fledged project, that's a different thing. But we need more screens. So that's not a good idea to have like 2 or 3 more projects with 1 or 2 screens. Like add one project, or actually if you do one project which has more screens with more interactions and are very, very cool, so it needs to be super high quality, then it might be enough. All right. You guys still there? Okay. Right, so let's move on. Hola. Soy Alba Marti. Alba. Okay. I'm going to actually translate this into English. Okay. Hey, Alba. What do we have here? Yeah. In terms of responsive design, it is not the best. Okay, what is it? Jobs? Are you offering me jobs? Maybe it's lost in translation. Sorry. Okay, I'm not going to pick on the copy because it was translated. Okay, so hello, I am Alba Marti, UX UI designer, lover of C, and passionate about DIY. Okay, I won't say it again. Obviously, you can work out a better introduction, but I will say something. One thing is, at least it's a little bit personal. So if you don't want a very like professional introduction, you can also add some personality to it, saying that, okay, you love to see and you're passionate about DIY, which whatever that means. But in some cases, I've seen portfolios where people are a bit personal, and at least they include some bits that just makes it more human. Yeah, I would still focus on like, what's your contribution as a UX UI designer, but it's still not bad. Okay, Up Green Roofs. Up, an application that helps implement green spaces on the roofs of buildings. Okay, I would work on, okay, the responsive design is not very nice here. So yeah, it's little fallen apart. And maybe if I look at this, then it looks better. So definitely, this, the actual implementation could be better. And working on Nespresso redesign, Nespresso app redesign concept in 72 hours, review the page and capsule selection, and come forward with a few solutions. Problem here, you explain what you did, but it's like, why should I care? What's in it for me? What did you learn? What did you solve? What challenges did you face? What was the end result? So when you don't just put up the names of the project in there, but instead focus on the outcome. I don't know. For instance, you could say, okay, you redesigned it in 72 hours. I don't think that adds a lot to the value of the project. Nespresso app redesign concept. Review the page capsule section. Maybe, okay, some like redesigning Nespresso's capsule selection, resulting in, I don't know, 40% decrease in customers getting lost or something like that. If you have data, then it's cool, but you can also make up, not data, but you can also transform the end result into like, what did you gain? How the new designs are better than the previous one, and put it right here. All right, let's look at the Nespresso, because I want to see what you did. Again, on large screen. I mean, come on, this is not good. This is definitely not good. A max width would be nice. Okay, if this looks nice. So Nespresso review. Nespresso migrated a responsive format. Blah 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 blah. Role heuristic and competitor analysis, timing. Okay, this is nice. So just laying out the process like this, like analysis, research, ideation, iteration. This is great, spot on. I like it. I don't know why is it an image? Not good for SEO. And I don't know if this is readable on mobile device. Is it readable on mobile device? And okay, review the user interface in order to do a heuristic evaluation. Match system in the real world, consistency. This is interesting. Okay, so I like this part. So I'm too interested in this project. You can find filter by Ristretto, Espresso, and Lungo Max sizes, especially with users. The language is not familiar with vocab. We could enforce the meaning. Okay, this is interesting. So let's see what you did there. Competitor analysis, user testing. Okay, I tested 5 men and women from blah 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 blah. Yeah, in this case, I haven't checked because it wasn't clear. Like, are you looking for freelance clients or full-time position? But again, what I would say is you could do a better job at explaining why user testing was important, and yeah, what do you gain by it? So okay, lack of clarity in product categories, filter problems. I would do a better job at focusing on the problems. For instance, we found that 80% of the users were confused by how the categories are laid out, and maybe connected to a business goal. And since we know that the category page has a drop-off or churn rate or XYZ, we wanted to focus on improving the experience so that blah, 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 blah. So you need to learn this kind of thinking of why I did that, what was the result, and how it benefited the business, because it's not connected to the business, and that's very important. User persona and journey map. Okay. Challenge, limited time. It's not a good persona. It doesn't have a lot of information. Like, how is it important that he's an architect and he's single? Does he drink more coffee that way? So the only here that I'm seeing is the goal. He needs quick access to enjoy new flavors, which is interesting. Like, why new flavors? Why? So it seems made up. I don't like it. If it's based on anything, that would be nice to know. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Conclusion, problem. So where's the solution? Solution, add a slider with different call to action. Okay, this is nice. I like the paper prototype with different sliders. It's not very big. Hierarchy. Yeah, maybe a video would be nice. Again, the overall layout is a bit too cluttered, so it's a little busy. You could clean it up a little bit. Just show one screen at a time. Explain what's going on. Do a before and after, but it's just too much. Like, I have a 2-column layout here, then a 1-column, and then a 2-column again, and then 2 images next to each other, and then this, it doesn't align well, and that's why it creates this, not so nice effect. While this is pretty. So at the beginning of, or at the end, you could include something like this. But for instance, here, you need to copy from users from designers, do a better job at kind of expanding on the sections and focusing on one thing at a time. Okay, so that will, because this is interesting, for the UI and the colors. I really like this. So you need to learn how to tell this story in a better way. Good job. Good job. Okay, no more questions. Just peeking here. All right, let's roll. Okay, so this is a Behance portfolio. Enable all. Okay, we have a portfolio from Zenku. I think I pronounced her name correctly. All right, so yeah, quick note on Behance. You definitely want to create your own website because of the reasons I told you. So you don't want to direct people away from your website. Well, technically, you don't have a website, but it's a website. You can refer people there. It's a simple link. You can share it. You can always, expand on it, on the case studies, on your offerings. You can have a call to action. You can build in your blog, and you can expand it, and you fully control it and own it. You don't own Behance. So use Behance just as a way to get extra traffic. Yeah, so actually, because this is what we get, like UX, UI designer, illustrator, travel in love with art and nature. Okay. And you're also in Budapest. So again, I don't have a lot of information on you, and how can I contact you? Maybe through Behance, but I have not so good experiences with hitting people up on Behance. People don't tend to respond. So let's open up this project. Health on sustainability on Formon. Okay, so I like the presentation here, that it starts with a nice graphic about the project. Problem statement, competitor analysis. Okay, this is great. Solution. What I'm saying, great. Okay, the text is on the verge of being hard to read or illegible, simply because there is not enough context. Here it's like, is it something that I should read, or do you want to hide it because it's like almost impossible to read? So maybe the contrast could be improved. But I like the fact that you didn't. I mean, this is a kind of a freelance type of approach where you don't put a lot of effort into explaining a lot of the process, but there is a process. So I see that you went through research and competitor analysis, but you don't include too much information there. The real problem, fuck off branding. Yeah, I don't know what this part is, but it becomes a little boring. Visual grammar, we're different, we're red. Okay, so since it's a branding project, oh, this is interesting. Customer journey, doing, thinking, feelings, curious, excited, search, picking a product. I mean, to be honest, I don't understand this chart. Like, I mean, feelings, okay, curious, excited, frustrated. So you're constantly changing the emotion. Then what is the scale for? So it's like, is it like minimum frustrated and this is maximum frustrated? This is maximum excited and minimum excited. If yes, then it makes sense. If not, then at this point, I don't know why I can be frustrated while filtering. or here. This is weird. Again, just some little mock-ups there. I mean, here, what you could do on a website is to build this up that I don't need to zoom in, but it's actually built up in sections. So, you know, one big con of this kind of Behance type of thing is that, okay, oh my God, this is too many screens. So what you want to do instead is just pick a few screens and explain what's going on the screen. That's very important. Don't assume that people will get what's going on the screen, especially if you are, you know, they're a client or if they want to hire you. And even I won't spend the time with trying to make sure, like, or not trying to make sure, trying to understand what I'm looking at. I'm looking at some pretty screens. They look all right. I don't really know what it is. And, you know, it's a big ask to say, hey, open it up, zoom in, and try to figure out what the hell is going on. So instead, take a few screens, just like 2 or 3 max, and explain the story behind them. And in that way, you know, just this is what I like to call the spotlight designs, like the ones that really tell the story. So from here, possibly I would pick on this one and try to do a good job at explaining what the screen is, how it helps the users, how it affects the business, and from the UX UI perspective, what are the interesting bits that would need to stand out. For instance, like, we know it's very important to quickly message the user, so therefore we constantly put up the seller and the send message button, which is always present when scrolled. And you could also say that on a mobile device, you know, it's easy to touch because it's in the lower half of the app. So, you know, instead of showing 40 screens, which is too much to process, nobody will do that. Just pick a few and explain what's going on and create a website. Definitely create a website. But your UI is definitely pretty. I really like that. Kudos for that. Okay, questions from Kavia. How many projects should we add in our portfolio? I would say 4 to 6. That's a good number. If you have more, I would hide the, you know, just like show more or something like that. So 4 to 6 is definitely a good number. And in terms of showing final designs, high fidelity is better to show it as a GIF or as a video. I mean, you could see some examples of a good video. And I also like GIFs, but I wouldn't rely on GIFs alone, because GIFs, 2 things. One, you need to produce a very high quality GIF, and that limits the amount of colors and the length. I think it's really about the colors and the shadow, because, you know, in some cases you really see very high quality GIFs, and we saw in the portfolio some lower quality as well. And that's because the more screens and information it is on the images, the GIF will grow in size and it's going to decrease in quality. So you need to experiment. I wouldn't advise anybody to include anything that's a little bit not so good in terms of quality. So what you want to do instead is experiment. If that interaction looks nice in the GIF, by all means, go with it. But also have high quality, crisp quality images in your portfolio. And if you have video, I think that works well as well, because you can tell a story of 6, 8, 10 screens in a video, even just recording the prototype and putting that as a video. Oh, so we have 2 more projects. All right. Okay. So let's hop on to this one. Ulkar. So she is UX, UI, and graphic designer Code Academy from, okay. Well, I don't see UX or UI, or what is this? Just scrolling through, it looks like brand identity or like an ad design. Okay, so my problem here is I see pretty mockups. This is cool. I really like these as images. What I don't know is, what do you want? Do you want to get hired? You want to get freelance clients? What are your service offerings? Sorry, just reading. Because you could use these images and build up a nice website with you selling, graphic design or ad design services, and that would be a complete story. Here I'm a little like, don't know what to do, because there's so many designers out there with pretty images, but it's a portfolio, but it's just like putting out a few pieces of work out there. Like, what do you want? What do you want people to do? Because it's not clear. And in terms of the case studies, again, I don't know what this project is, what your contribution was, because obviously you didn't design a logo. Okay, so that's what baffles me. That creating a website, explaining your services, like what do you do, who do you want to attract as clients, and then going into a project like this, a case study like this, you need to do a good job at explaining, like, what was the project, what did you do, how did you approach it, and then use these pretty visuals to actually sell it. Because in branding, it's all about the visuality, but it's also about the story. Like, this is a pretty big brand, and John Legend is also like a well-known figure. So, but maybe you can take on a small medium business as a company. So, instead of focusing on this pretty stuff, figure out, like, what do you want, and then you can build up a portfolio. Because a portfolio is, I don't think it's a good way to think about it as a collection of pretty stuff, but instead it's a way to attract clients and attract business opportunities, or to get hired in a way. And to that, you need to be clear on what you want and who do you need to attract, because you have the skills, you have some very, very awesome looking designs. It's just hanging up in midair. So all I can say, pretty designs, but I don't know, what do you want? Engi, can you show us an example of a portfolio that you consider is excellent, or maybe can you recommend a designer to see his projects? Yes, just for consistency, I'm going to recommend this guy called Matt Olpinski. Actually was a freelancer. Now he's kind of an agency, but still kind of communicates as a freelancer. And what I like is Matt could also easily go for getting hired as a designer with his projects. Project proposal. Sorry, company website. This is what it is. I'll drop in the link just in a second. So what I like in his portfolio is that he builds it up. View our work. Why is it so slow? So he builds it up in a nice way. Like, both the presentation is super high quality, and it's worth reading how he structures the case study, because he really explains what the business background is, and he also uses images like, you know, a complex user flow, but it doesn't put it in your face too much and expects you to understand everything and be curious about it. So so yeah, I'll just drop in the link. I don't know why it's not loading. All right, okay. Back to the thing. All right, so hey, the path to problem solving. Hi, I'm Ned Abdafar, UX product designer. Okay, again, okay, that's nice background, so to speak. This doesn't look very high quality, so the presentation of the portfolio could be improved. iOS mobile app library hub, iOS mobile app hearts to hearts. Again, change that so it speaks for itself. The project title, like what did you achieve, what problems you solved, how did you solve it. Learning companion for upskilling professionals with the power of libraries, free resources. Let's see that. Library hub. Okay, in terms of the UI, I don't love it. So, you know, quality of the project, I don't know. This age in the middle doesn't look so good. So my role, UX designer, researcher, 5 designers, 6 weeks. Okay, this is nice. This is clean, easy to understand, challenge. Now I want to see the outcomes. Ideating. This is good. With multiple users complete the following tasks. Final designs. Again, the issue is, I mean, I don't really understand this before and after designs, because they both look like your designs, or the UI wasn't changed. I mean, it would be a tougher situation. The UI wouldn't change, but for instance here, again, it's a little busy and you need to show less at one time and just go one by one. And maybe what I would do here is say, okay, this is the homepage. Put it like big up front, before, problems, boom, 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 boom. And then after, what has been improved, blah, 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 blah. So the problem is, you know, it's hard to consume it in here. Keep up RSVP. And I would probably redesign the final result, that it looks better, because the issue is the original UI is not so nice, to say the least. And since you use that UI, it's very hard to make a difference. And I know in some cases it's tough because you need to work with an existing UI, but try to stretch those limits. Try to like ask for, I can redesign it. Would they mind if you would use a different UI, and so on, unless you can point it out how this UI is really perceived well by the end users. But then it needs to be very clear, because if I'm looking at this UIs, it's like, I'm not convinced. You have a process, yes, but it's very mediocre work, and I don't love it. So try to work on the UI. Hearts to hearts. Okay. Ooh, sorry. I need to move on. Q&A. Right. So the last one here from Nermeen. Okay. So what do we got here? Okay, definitely. So if you have a website, please pay for the website service. So this is very, very unprofessional. It's like using a Gmail for your professional email address. It's not good. It's not perceived well by users. I'm sorry, by recruiters and clients as well. So have a professional website email address and the website URL, So like nurmeenzaidi.com instead of wixsite.com. I know it's free, but there's very cheap alternatives, and you need to invest in this. Okay, contact, and there's a Gmail. Sorry about that. I'm a visual and urban designer whose work is driven via a design thinking approach. As a designer, I understand the importance of storytelling, communicating graphics, and presentation of ideas. Okay. It could be a little shortened. Yeah. Yeah. And try to speak about like how your work benefits the bottom line, how your work benefits the clients, and not just what you do, because it's like you're trying to impress me with how much you know about like the importance of storytelling, but maybe I don't know the importance of storytelling, and you need to convince me with something that's very accessible. It's plain language. All right, let's look at the overall. The page needs to be redesigned. So even if your project work is super nice, this website it doesn't look good. So this colors in the background, this gray thing on top. It's nice you put an image of yourself. I like that, but overall, this looks low quality. Okay, let's look at wixsite.com. It animates in. Again, redesign the site. It's very, very distracting with this opacity. It doesn't look good. It immediately makes me want to leave. Although these personas look nice. Customer journey map, ideation. Okay, the problem is you didn't tell me anything. You just throw me a bunch of deliverables here. And this is the problem. It's more about explaining what you did and showing some examples. Here you did the exact opposite, which is showing all the deliverables but not explaining a thing to me. So if I don't know what personas are, or I don't know if we are at this level with the company or as a client or whatever, then it's just going to be bouncing off of me right away. Interactive prototype. It's not bad. Not bad, but like I said before, it's better. Show just a couple of screens, explain the feature, explain what's going on, explain why was it important, how it affected the business. And I would say work on the UI, educational website. Rough wireframes. Okay, design. And it's too much. It needs to be a lot cleaner. And still work on the UI. If you want to visual, so you say you're a visual designer, and that's dangerous, because if you would say you are a UX designer, because your personas, journey maps, all that, then it's cool. But for a visual designer, you need to push higher and have better overall visual presentation of your portfolio, because your projects look better than your website. The projects are all right, some of them. So for instance, but yeah, this is way too busy. But this list looks all right, okay, right? But this looks far better than the overall website. And this is why you need to have less content, more focused on one thing at a time, and designing a very, very good looking website. I mean, this shadow, it's not looking nice. You're using justified text on a website, which is a big no-no. You shouldn't use justified text, because the so-called like rivers will appear like between. These are rivers in the text. We don't use justified text on the website, so definitely get rid of that. So start over. Start with the projects. tell the story of the project, and then add in those those deliverables, but explain them, because it's just a mess to me, and I cannot bother to go into, and I'll just move on, and you might be a fantastic designer, and that would be too bad. All right. Let me stop sharing my screen. So what can I see here? Any suggestions for UX UI free templates? What do you mean? You mean like a portfolio? And then what are cheap alternatives for the website, Squarespace? Yes, so basically, yes, I would say Wix, Squarespace is all right. There are website builders that are more focused on selling, which is great. So if it's like a sales funnel tool or anything like that, then it's definitely a good thing. There is a recording available after this, so I will send it to you. Yeah, I'm not aware of a design portfolio template, but you know what? I'm going to paste a few links in here of portfolios that are worth checking out. How does that sound? Okay. So here's a few. Get inspired. And I will not say they're not all perfect, like not nearly perfect. Did we got another one to reach 100 people? Yes, actually we did. I just didn't want to spam all over Instagram, but there was a 100th register. Okay, so for now, we went through all of it, and we are on top of the 90 minutes. We are going to do another session. I'll post about like if there's any more portfolios, like send it my way, and that way we can do another session, because I do think there's a lot that we can learn from it. So thanks for being here. And oh, by the way, the enrollment to the portfolio course is still open by the end of the week. So until Sunday, you have the opportunity to enroll in my portfolio course. People coming in, it's gonna be very exciting. Yes, no, there is no time set yet for the editor review, but I will set some soon. Okay. So anyway, thank you so much. Thanks so much, guys, for being here. I hope you love this session, and we're going to do another session very soon. I'm going to announce it in the email and on Instagram too. And if you're interested in the portfolio course, definitely give it, check it out. It does come with some awesome stuff. And yeah, all right. Thank you guys for being here. This was awesome.